Yep.
All right, so as you know, this is being recorded. You should have got a little announcement about that, and there's a little note that says that it's recording. So let's just start with some introductions, and then I'll share a PowerPoint. My name is Dr. Crystal Bowman. I'm the Dean of Nursing and Allied Health at Oregon Coast Community College. So under my direction, I have nursing, LPN to RN, nursing assistant, medical assistant, and EMT. Becky.
Great. And my name is Becky York. I'm the student success coach at Oregon Coast Community College over nursing and allied health. So I've spoken to many of you already, and hopefully we'll get the chance to speak to the new additions to this call at some point in the near future.
And we may have Professor Barton joining us. She is the nursing advisor for nursing and LPN to RN. So if we see her pop in, then we'll stop and have her introduce herself as well. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna start this way instead of having to like go in and out of the PowerPoint. It just makes more sense. Let me share a screen with you. I want to do like a little icebreaker activity. So just so we get to know each other, in the past, we would go around the audience and everyone would have to say their name and where they lived and why they wanted to be a nurse, but nobody liked that activity too much. So we'll do this instead. So on your screen is a QR code, and it is attached to this question. What one word best describes why you want to be a nurse? We'll do about 2 minutes on this. And I think I can also pop the link in the chat for those of you that might be on your cell phone and not able to actually scan a QR code while being on your cell phone. So you should be able to scan it, and then a bubble will pop up with the question, and then you just answer the question.
All right, now we're getting some responses.
Here's some. I was thinking, does anyone know why they want to be a nurse for a second? Their responses just weren't coming through. Sometimes they come through as like a batch. This can be like a weird program.
There we go. Now they're coming.
Let's do like another minute or a minute, and then we'll look at the responses, and then we'll get started with all the information that I'm sure everyone is dying to know and that they're here for.
Up to 18.
All right.
Great. 19. 20.
20. It's an even number. Good even number. All right. Well, let's look at the responses and see what y'all say. There you go. These words will move around. If new responses come in, the words morph and move around. On these, if you've ever seen these word clouds, the word that's the biggest and in the middle is the most used word. So it looks like a lot of you are really focused on compassion, community, caring. There we go. Flipping all around. Opportunities. And then the weird part about this is sometimes if you put in a sentence, it breaks up your sentence. So I can pick out like someone's daughter. There must have been an experience with someone's daughter at some point. So you can see how it morphs itself. But it looks like compassion is staying strong, which stands to reason because for 21 years in a row, nursing has been voted the most trusted profession. So makes
Wow.
sense. So I'll stop sharing that one, and then I'll share the PowerPoint that we're going to go over today. That was not seeming to work. Hold on there. Let me see. Sometimes it's a good technology day and sometimes it's not. Let's try that one. There we go. It's like a little lag, I'm noticing. All right, so welcome to the information session on the 2-year nursing program here at Oregon Coast Community College. Becky and I have already introduced ourselves, so we're already jumping into our agenda. We're going to talk about why nursing as a career, a little bit about career opportunities. Becky's going to have a ton of great information about advising. We're going to talk about the application. Becky's going to have even more amazing information on resources and financial aid. And at the end, I'll stop sharing and asking and answer all the questions that are bound to arise during this presentation. So the first is why nursing. This is what we just did instead of stopping and going in and out of screens. We did this at the beginning instead. So then the question becomes why OCCC? So I can tell you some of the feedback we get in our evaluations and what we hear from current students. Students really like our smaller class sizes versus giant size universities or larger community college classrooms. I will tell you that nursing has the biggest classrooms. We recently raised our course enrollment to 40 per cohort. So that will be a cap of 40 first year, 40 second year for a total of 80 nursing students. Still fairly small in the grand scheme of things, but it works for us given the space constraints and the very small county that we are. We really pride ourselves on more personalized interactions, and our students tell us all the time that we feel less like faculty and more like family. We spend a lot of time getting to know you. We have a lot of resources built into our nursing program to make sure that you're successful and to help you any way that we can. Probably the most substantial one is our mentorship program. And how that works is as soon as you start classes, you're assigned a mentor, and it's either myself or faculty, and your mentor works one-on-one with you. You fill out a survey so we can get to know you. We start to try to understand your study habits, your barriers to learning, what your learning style is. So we really just drill down and figure out ways that we can help you. The whole goal is to get to know you, to reduce attrition, and to increase success. And we have proven that it works. It's been in place now for about 3 years. Our NCLEX pass rate in June was 95%. And that was the first time that it's been that high. And it's also the first time it's ever been with the new test, which is the NCLEX next generation. So we really spend a lot of time teaching you how to test, teaching you how to learn, and critically thinking and applying what you do learn. Our next point is how involved we are in the community. I'm not sure if everyone's from Lincoln County, but just in case, we're pretty small here, Central Coast. We cover Newport, Waldport, out to Otis. We have a lot of ground. We have campuses here in Newport, in Lincoln City. Those are the 2 primary campuses that we use. We really get involved in the community in any way possible. Community service is built into your clinical schedules as a required component of clinical service. It's part of your clinical hours and part of your course outcomes in the program. We have partnered with Lincoln County Public Health, and we are the primary providers of COVID and flu vaccines in the county. They run the clinics, they set up the clinics, and we staff them. And that staffing translates into community service hours for you. It's been in place since the start of COVID with no plans to change that at all as boosters get developed and COVID still continues to be a prevalent issue. A big thing that we tell students is the second you step into our program, you start a 2-year job interview. Our clinical partners and the people in our community identify you by your royal blue scrubs, and they get to know you. I routinely have people in the community reach out to me and tell me how wonderful you are, how grateful they are that you exist. And we also sometimes have an occasional, like, they probably shouldn't have been doing that in uniform type of thing. So either way, it's a job interview. So you want to live up to your highest potential. We also pride ourselves on having an open door policy, from Becky and her team all the way up to me as the dean of the program. We like to be available and accessible to you at all times. That's part of building those trusting relationships and ensuring your success. Our cost is below other colleges, which makes this education a little bit more affordable. And like I just mentioned, with our NCLEX pass rates, we do have a very high success rate within the program. So nursing as a career, on that graph we just made, I didn't see any responses that said money, but I'm sure it's in the back of people's mind because we're always looking for jobs or careers that are going to sustain us and allow us to provide a good life for ourselves and our families. My great grandma was a nurse, and she used to tell me from the time I was little that if you have a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's how I feel about nursing. But you can see here, as a nurse, you make a very nice wage. Oregon is one of the highest paying states in the nation for nurses. So you can see, just even if you're looking at entry wages, so that would be you in 2 years graduating from the program, stepping into nursing as a new graduate RN. The average salary is about $39 an hour, where the nationwide average is $28 an hour. So it's a very good wage, especially as you work your way up to the top of salary scales and acquire more education and advance your career. Plus, there's a lot of potential for movement and for growth. These numbers this number is a little bit outdated. This was 2022 numbers. One thing you can count on with nursing is that you will always have a job. One thing I told my June graduates, and that I'm telling this year's cohort already that's going to graduate in June, is on the day of your graduation, sitting on the stage of your pinning, if you don't have a job, it's because you don't want one. The jobs are out there and they want you. They seek you out, they hire you. About 95% of the graduates from June had a job at least a week before they even graduated last time. And employers are already reaching out to me to recruit the ones that we have. So it's a very fast growing profession. A lot of it was due in part to the fact that COVID was not kind at all to the healthcare profession. A lot of people left the profession. Combine that with our aging population, which equates to aging nurses, and you have this perfect storm where it creates an issue where we have to replace nurses faster than nurses are exiting the profession. This is where you come in, and this is where we want you to be successful so that you can get out there and start taking care of us and our kids and our families and your loved ones. Your 2-year degree that you will earn from here does not stop your forward projection as a nurse. From here, it's nothing but up. The next step would be your bachelor's degree in nursing. That's Bachelor of Science in Nursing. I did not mention to the LPN group, which I should have, is we have in place some concurrent enrollment agreements where you can sign up for it's called concurrent enrollment because you can enter the nursing program here at Oregon Coast while you're concurrently earning credits towards your Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. So that's more, you learn about that through orientation. But we have a lot of students that when they graduate from our program, they literally have about 3 terms left and they have their baccalaureate degree, which is needed if you want to advance your career to a more management level. So maybe you want to be the director of nursing in a hospital, or maybe you want to be a unit manager of the ER. They really do look for those higher degrees. And that's for a lot of reasons. But the good part about that is they hire you with a 2-year degree and then they help you pay for your advanced education, which is always a bonus. You might decide from there that you want to get a more advanced degree. So your next steps from there, you can get master's degrees, you can become a nurse practitioner, you can become other types of nursing specialists. I always like to share my roots because I'm really proud of them. I graduated in 2003 as a nurse from a tiny community college in Sun City, Arizona with my two-year degree. I decided that that wasn't enough education. And actually, what really happened is I decided I wanted to teach, and I couldn't teach with a 2-year degree. So I went and got my Bachelor's of Science degree from Arizona State University. And then I decided that I wanted to teach in other arenas. So I went back and I got my Master's of Nursing Education from Grand Canyon. And then I decided I wanted to be a researcher and I wanted to be a dean. So I got a PhD, and now I will finish my nurse practitioner in February. So, like I said, your education is endless. Your possibilities are endless. This is just your first step. And many of you may have already taken the first step. You may have CNA degrees or other degrees, and I'm really proud of you for that and getting that started. And this is just going to amp up that future pathway for you. I'll turn this one over to Becky.
Okay, great. Yeah, so the nursing program has a little bit of a unique advising setup. So I am your success coach while you are applying or while you're taking the pre-nursing classes here at OCCC, or if you've taken them elsewhere and you're applying to the nursing program here. So I kind of walk you through those stages. Once you're admitted to the nursing program, Professor Lynn Barton becomes your advisor. So she, I think, probably wanted to hop on this call, but is possibly grading finals. So she may or may not be joining us today, but she would actually be your advisor once you're in the program. And then, so a lot of you have already, so again, many of you are current pre-nursing OCCC students. Others of you I've already spoken to. If there are additional people on the call who are interested in starting this process, you will want to schedule an advising appointment with me to start out. You apply to the college first, but before you can actually register for classes, you do need to meet with me. To clarify, when you go to the homepage, the OCCC website, you're just going to do a general application right now. The nursing application itself is not open. So we have people go to the website and apply under general studies. You will continue to have advising appointments. So if you're taking your prereqs here at the college, you'll continue to have advising appointments with me once a term. Basically, we need to talk or be in touch about your classes. There's all kinds of ways to meet with your advisor. It can be on Zoom, it can be over the phone, it can be in person. You can set up an appointment. Again, many of you are pros at this. You can set up an appointment from the advising page on the OCC website. And I think we can go to the next slide. Again, for those of you that are new and might be having your first advising appointment, you'll want to bring college transcripts that you have. We'll just get to know each other a little bit and what you're interested in. We'll talk about financial aid. You'll go to a new student orientation. And by the time you leave, you'll have a good deal of information about the pre-nursing and the nursing program, including the prereqs, how the point system works for admission, and what classes you would be taking in the coming term. And ideally future terms as well. So I have a little disclaimer that goes with this slide, this academic planner slide. Many of you who are currently at the community college and had Carol Martin as your advisor had these all made out for you, a planner that would go over each term and the classes you were going to take. People that are newer and have talked to either Ben or myself this fall may not have gotten this yet. So you might have your plan for classes this term and next term, but you may not have an entire planner. So again, that's my disclaimer. I will make sure to get these to the people who do not have them. For new students, we will come up with a planner for you that goes through the classes that you will be able to take each term up into the time when you would apply to the nursing program. And we'll go through those prerequisites here shortly. We can go to the next one. As far as your relationship with your advisor, your success coach, you can really reach out to us anytime if you have any question that you need an answer to, if you're having academic troubles, if you're having financial troubles, if you just need to vent or ask for advice about a particular class. We also reach out to you. We will reach out to you once a term to check in. We'll reach out to you if we get an early alert, which is a situation where a professor lets us know that you're struggling in a class. We also reach out to you to share announcements, deadlines, information about class registration, etc. So it goes both ways. Next one. Oregon Coast Community College has really, I think, an impressive array of resources to help its students. So those of you who are here now hopefully feel that. We have a great library with 2 terrific staff. We have private study rooms as well as group study rooms. So for example, some of the current nursing students actually come in every Friday and they reserve one of the group rooms and they spend all day in there studying. They order food. They come to me if they run out of mayonnaise and salt and things like that. But it's a really, really, really nice setup back there. Those of you who are current students know that we have math and writing labs. We have some tutoring available. Once you're in the nursing program, you actually have faculty support. You have a mentor, as Dr. Bowman mentioned. And then, of course, we have Dr. Bowman herself, the Dean of Nursing. Many of you know Ben Kaufman. He's our Associate Dean of Student Affairs. His email is up here. He's available as well to talk to students about any concerns they have, any issues they're having. And then one of the biggest things that we have here that we're proud of is our Student Resource Navigator. Some of you already know her. Her name is Tracy Jones. So Tracy is here to help you with your non-academic, your basic needs support. So anybody who's getting SNAP benefits is eligible for something called a STEP program, which can help you pay some of your expenses while you're going to school. She also is just an amazing wealth of knowledge as far as resources in the community that might help you if you're struggling in any arena, financially, could be mental health wise, etc. We have a diversity and inclusion committee, which puts on some pretty fun events. We have our associated student government. And then we have a great bookstore, which also has more and more food options. Those of you who are attending here may have noticed that Dr. Bowman was raving about the quesadillas earlier. But really, the Newport campus is pretty well set up, I think, for students.
And the quesadillas are only $4, by the way.
There you go. It's very reasonable. The prices are great. Yes.
It's really good food. They have other stuff too.
Yeah.
There's a line. There's a line currently every day to get them when the nursing students are on site.
That's true. That's true. They're big consumers of and patrons of that bookstore. Okay, so financial aid. So as many of you know, I'm relatively new here, and I will be completely honest that I still have a lot to learn about financial aid. What I can tell you today is those of you who are already very familiar with the FAFSA know that that process is opening late this year. So normally the FAFSA opens in October for the following September. This year it's not opening, they're saying by December 31st. So OSAC, OregonStudentAid.gov is up and running. Of course, they'll be waiting for your FAFSA information, but they have some scholarship deadlines. The early bird deadline is February 15th. Their regular scholarship deadline is April 1st. Everybody should be taking a look on that website and educating themselves about Oregon Student Aid. There's a really unique foundation called the Ford Family Foundation that has some great programs. They have a specific Ford Opportunity Scholar program that is for students who are either parents or students who are attending at they say a slightly older age, 25 and up. So that's an interesting source of funding. We have our OCCC Foundation, which offers scholarships. Typically, it can change from year to year, but typically they will have a couple of nursing specific scholarships available. So those applications will open on February 1st of next year. And then as well, our financial aid department can offer nursing loans that are specific to nursing from the Department of Health and Human Services. So I know we had a number of students in the current nursing program who are taking advantage of those loans that we administer. My goal is to offer at least one, if not more, Zoom financial aid sessions early next year. So that will be geared specifically for students who will be entering the nursing program. So students who will be applying and hopefully entering the nursing program. I'm going to try to have some other people on there, hopefully our director of financial aid, and we'll go into great detail about this topic because it's very complicated, as many of you know. Next slide. Okay, so I think I am just going to cover the initial part here, and then Dr. Bowman's going to take over. For those of you who have not yet applied to Oregon Coast Community College, you will want to go to our homepage and fill out the very basic application. I think I mentioned earlier, since the nursing application isn't open yet, if you're applying for the first time, you're going to put general studies as your program. After you do that, you will meet with a success coach, likely me. And as well, we'll talk about getting if you have previous college, you'll want to send in your transcripts, and we'll talk about that in our meeting. So Dr. Bowman.
Yes, sorry, my internet was flittering a little bit. So the next step will be to complete the nursing application. One of the most popular questions is always, when is that application going to be published? And it will be published by the end of the first week of January. So once it's published, I believe Becky lets you all know, and then you can apply. The application fee is $200 to apply, and admission is based on a point structure. So how it works out is we look at points and nothing but points. So we don't really consider anything else. The highest scoring points get offered the spot in the program. We do have some supplemental items that we ask for upon acceptance to the program, and only upon acceptance to the program. So those things include your background check, your drug screen, fingerprinting, your vaccinations, your CPR. So those things have absolutely, positively no bearing on your application process. So we don't even ask you for those till you're accepted into the program. So I don't want anyone to be concerned about that. So really why I'm saying that is when you apply, I don't need you to send a lump sum email with all of your documents and vaccinations since childhood. We give you a special place to upload all of that. This one you?
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you want to talk about the curriculum for just a second, I have someone knocking at my door, and then
Okay,
I'll be
sounds
right
good.
back.
Sounds good. Yeah, so those of you who have already met with me should be pretty familiar with the prerequisites for the nursing program. The math level is Math 95. You need to have completed at least Math 95. Again, most of you are familiar with this, writing 121, 122, or 227, actually. The psych classes. I'm going to skip the arts and letters and social sciences for a moment. You do need to have MP 111, medical terminology, the BI 112, cell biology for health occupations, because of course that is the prerequisite for the anatomy and physiology series, as well as microbiology. Nutrition needs to be completed. That's offered here in the fall, as many of you know. As far as the arts and letters and social sciences requirements, many of you know this already, the psych classes cover social science. So if you've taken, which you will have to apply, Psych 201 and 215, you've taken those already, that covers the social science elective. The arts and letters elective is a little bit different. You do need to have that as well. Classes like communication, a literature class, a 200 level language class, actual art, music, all of those classes cover arts and letters. If you have questions about that, you can reach out to me after the call and we can go through that. As well, typically people apply to the nursing program. Like if you're actually attending OCCC, you'll apply to the nursing program while you are still completing those last courses, anatomy and physiology 3 and microbiology. I think we can go to the next slide unless Dr. Bowman, what else did you want to add? Oops, we might have lost her. Okay, she had somebody at the door.
I'm here.
Oh, she's back. Yay. Okay, good.
Yep,
You
sorry,
saved
that
me.
was sorry. Oh, right. So next slide. So like we were talking about, we specifically assess applications based on points. So kind of the process behind this is you apply like Becky described, then you apply to the nursing program, and then Amanda, who is the office specialist for the nursing program, as your applications come in, we start reaching out to you for information. This is one of the components that will be published with the application. We will put it on our website once it's updated, and you'll be able to print this, or Becky can probably give it to you as part of the application process as well. And we need you to fill this out for us and then get it back to us. Please note that this is the fall of 2023 one. It'll be updated with the fall of 2024, which would be you if you're applying. So really what you do on here is you list whatever college or university you took the course at, when you completed it, what the course number and name was, how many credits it was, and then here is where you put like an X or your mark or a check mark or your initials, like whatever you want to show us what grade you got in that course. Now, as much as we love to believe everyone, we do match this up to the transcripts that we get. And this is how our points are calculated. So say you're someone that got A's in bio 231, 232, 233, 234, 225, you would get 20 points all the way down. That'd be 100 points towards your application. So that's really great. And then you do this for all of the classes that you have taken. The course numbers and names help us too. I'm not sure when I was answering my door if Becky talked about arts and letters. because it really does help to identify those courses that may be counted as arts and letters, which Becky talks about when she meets with you, and also our registrar catches when she does the transcript evaluations.
Yeah.
And then the second page, please keep in mind again that this is going to be updated. You get some extra points for some things. If you have a current CNA license, if you are an LPN, you're probably on a different track if you're an LPN. If you have a CNA 2, if you have a CMA, if you are an EMT, if you are a qualified mental healthcare associate, we also give you points for those things. So I've had a lot of inquiries from students that were interested in acquiring additional points. So I can tell you that the things that we don't accept are vet tech certifications, pharmacy tech certifications, respiratory certifications, physical therapy certifications, things like that. I do want to know if you have those, because it helps us when we place you clinically and as we get to know you. They're just not attached to points. You get points if you have, this is wrong, I don't even know where the sheet came from. You get points if you have another bachelor's, if you have a bachelor's degree, if you have another associate's degree, or if you have a master's degree. So those points will change a little bit. It should say awarded associate's degree should say 5, awarded bachelor's degree should say 10, and master's degree should say 15. That's going to be what the new wording says on the 2024 point sheet. One huge benefit too is if you have taken courses at OCCC, we give you 2 points per required prerequisite course up to a total of 16 points towards your overall total. So all these things we combine, and then we look at the points. So what we are not doing for the first year, so there's a lot of rumors and stuff going around out there. For the fall, there will not be an entrance exam for you. There will not be an essay, and there will not be an interview. We are doing straight applications, straight points for incoming first year students. Those things that I just talked to you about, those are LPN to RN point requirements, those 3 things. It does not apply to incoming first year students. And this is a lot of what I already talked about, and here's the correction. So I don't know why I didn't catch it on this actual spreadsheet, but I'm fixing it anyways. So here's the licensure we talked about, the degrees, and then the prerequisite courses. Also on the point sheet, you'll see a new addition for residency in Lincoln County. That's going to get some additional points. We have had an uptick in out-of-county applications, which we really do love and appreciate. We also have to account for the fact that our local employers really need nurses coming through the healthcare pipeline in Lincoln County that live here or plan to live here and that want to stay here and work here. So there's a little bit of a point change going on with that. So we're near the end of the slideshow, but not necessarily near the end of the conversation, because just like our LPN one this morning, we spent the most time on questions. So these are the most popular questions. These are the ones that I'm always asked. So I figure I'll start there, and then I'm going to stop sharing, and then you can ask all the questions you want, and Becky and I will try to answer all of them. So how many students will I admit? I will admit 40. So what that means for you is if 40 students apply, all 40 of you will get in. And then we still look at the points, but obviously you'll all be in if we get 40 applications. That's generally not been the case. We generally have more applications than we have spots to offer. What is the minimum number of points I need to get to be accepted? There's not really a minimum number of points. It really just depends on, if you think about grading on a curve, whatever applicant has the highest points, that becomes the standard. And then we just start drilling down from there by 40 people. So if the top person, let's just say if the top person has 160 points and the bottom person has only 20 points, which is impossible, by the way, then that's a pretty big gap. And so you can see the point differential there. What if you are still working on prerequisites? So this is a question that will take Becky and I both to answer. It's a little bit different with the first year. So we have prerequisites and we have co-requisites. And I'm sure that Becky has talked to you about that. We truly recommend that you get as many of the co-requisites out of the way as possible before you start, but you can still apply if you don't have them done. You do not have to worry about that. Having them done just helps you a little bit, because then you can focus on just the nursing classes instead of all of the prereqs and all of the other things that you need to do. And so you guys have an advantage above the LPN students, because you have essentially the summer to complete some additional courses. They're actually starting right after the summer. So if you do have co-requisites and it's being offered in the summer, it's a great time to pick those up. It's a great time to pick up those arts and letters, but you can still apply and you can still be accepted without them. What it will look like is that your acceptance will be conditional and your graduation will be dependent on you completing your requirements. And I don't know if Becky has anything to add to that.
Full disclosure, again, I'm very honest. I am still capable of getting confused between prereqs and co-reqs. I do know that with classes like the arts and letters elective, for example, you could technically wait and take that. The other thing that is true, and one of our current students asked this question, is many of you will be in the process of taking A&P2 and microbiology when you apply to the nursing program. That happens every year with OCCC students. Your grades will be in by the time the application closes. So Dr. Bowman will have I saw that question come up. Dr. Bowman will have your grades for those classes. I do know that technically, and tell me if I'm wrong, Dr. Bowman, A&P3 and microbiology could technically be taken during the nursing program once you're admitted. Is that correct?
Correct.
I would not recommend it.
I was just
Dr.
going to
Bowman
say,
would not recommend it.
I would not.
But technically that could happen.
Yeah, it can. And we specifically do look at the schedules when planning them, just if that needs to happen. But the way you want to think of it is like a nursing term is 12 credits, like 12 credits minimum. So if you're going to do 12 credits and then add on those other biology credits and then plus a lab, it gets extremely hard. So once you're admitted to the nursing program, you want your focus to be on nursing. It is a hard program. It is not like other classes. The tests are very different. The curriculum's very different. The expectations are very different.
And the only other thing I wanted to add too is back to the point sheet. If you did wait for any reason to take the arts and letters class, if you waited to take microbiology, you would not get those points. And those points are going to be really critical toward admission.
Perfect. Yep, that's true. So when does the application open? Like I've already explained that. It opens the first week of January. I would just caution you or remind you that the first week of January extends till Friday. So I know people get really anxious. And so inevitably I receive emails on like Wednesday saying, is the application open? It's the first week of January. The college is closed for some time during the holidays. So that first week is really busy. My commitment to you is to have it posted before the end of the first week of January or before. There's just a lot of moving pieces involved with the application being posted. When will you know if you're accepted? We always inform you in May. It has worked out to be somewhere around Mother's Day. It's accidental, but when you get accepted, I personally call you and welcome you to the program. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard, this is the best Mother's Day ever. And I'm like, it's an accident, but you're welcome. Just, just because the timing does line up. And on that note, I'm going to stop sharing so that we can see each other. If you have questions, you can put your questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand, or you can just come off of mute and ask us.
I know
So,
a lot of you and you're not shy, so go for it.
as far as like if we're finishing AMP3 and microbiology in the spring and summer, if you accept people until May, like if that's when you get your acceptance, how do you guys calculate those points then?
So if you're currently in a class, you just don't get the points for that class. We do a final point count. So the application opens the first week of January and it closes the end of March. And so we don't do a final point calculation until the end, so that if you're taking some of those classes, we have the ability to just pull like unofficial transcripts and look at your grades. So then we can add in those grades to add in final scores as a final calculation. But like a summer class, you would not get the points because we have to make a decision by the beginning of May to inform people.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that means that our AMP3 would not count towards points.
Not if you're still in it, are you taking it in the summer?
No, I'll be taking it in spring term.
So and the spring term ends in June. Yes. So those don't count, but we still accept you without them as long as everything else is aligned.
Okay.
And Kara, many other students will be in your position. There are a lot of people on this call right now who are going to be taking ANP3 in the spring.
Right. Yeah,
I see there are a number of people. So try not to, I wouldn't worry too much.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I was wondering, what kind of work can you do with an RN, with a registered nursing license, fresh out of college? More specifically, what kind of extra curriculum or training do I need to work in the ER, the ICU, or the OB?
That is such a great question. So I can tell you that our June graduating class had 21 graduates, and every single graduate on that stage had a job walking across the stage. Some of them had multiple offers. A lot of those offers were in the emergency room, in the ICU, in the operating room, in trauma centers. So places are hiring you with the degree that you will earn in this program, and then they will help you get the additional training that you need to work within those departments. North Lincoln Hospital and Pacific Communities, Newport and Lincoln City, they hired a total of like 14 of our June grads, and they are committed to keep doing that. So the short answer is absolutely none. Your degree will suffice, and they cannot wait for you to graduate and come to work for them.
So we have some questions in the chat that, let me see. Okay. There's a question from someone who says they took A&P and microbiology in Central Oregon, and that BI 112, the cell biology for health occupations, was not a prereq. Is she still expected to take BI 112? Dr. Bowman, let's see if Dr. Bowman can answer that. And if not, I'll tell you what I know.
So Central Oregon Community College, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you took So I want to make a disclaimer before I answer this question that the registrar has all final decisions in transferability of credits. But what I think is the answer is that since Central Oregon is another community college in Oregon, it is accredited that if you took buy one, 2 there, then you would not have to take it there here. We would just transfer those credits for you.
I didn't take by 112 because it wasn't a prereq for micro
Okay.
or EMP.
Okay.
So I know of another instance like that. I'm gonna just need to check with our dean and possibly our VP of Student Affairs. And I can get back to you after the call.
Okay, that sounds good. I can email you too, so you have my email.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And sometimes in those situations, you may have taken, like our registrar is absolutely amazing
Yeah.
at trying to figure things out. She looks at classes that you took at other places and lines up numbers, and Becky and I will get involved, like, will you take this for this? And a lot of the times that we do. What I know for a fact is that in some fashion, you have to meet the requirements of every one of the prerequisites to enter the program.
Thank you.
Yeah. How many applications? Oh, this one was sent to me directly, but I don't know if it was meant to be. How many applications does the program get each year on average? It depends on which program it is. I can tell you it's not a secret. These things are meant to be transparent. We got over 60 applications for first year for 40 spots in the first year. And then LPNs, we had quite a bit more for sure. So we had probably over 60 for 18
Whoops.
spots.
I think Dr. Bowman might have froze.
Am I frozen?
Like Dutch, you're
Oh,
unmuted. Can
am
you
I
hear? Okay, she's back. Okay, we lost you for a minute there, Dr.
It's
Bowman.
the wind and the rain.
Okay, yep.
It says my internet connection is unstable, and someone said,
Uh-oh, I
can I
think you froze
repeat that?
again.
Yes, I can repeat it. So for first year, last year, we got just over
We
60.
lost you again. We'll give it a few minutes. We'll give it a couple of minutes here. For those of you who don't live on